Hi, and welcome to English for Professional Communication. Today, we're going to learn more about intercultural communication and professional etiquette. When understanding each other's culture, okay, it is very, very important that we keep an open mind because there are certain times whereby whenever we come across something that is uncommon, something that is unfamiliar, we subconsciously will, okay, relate it to our own cultural code or behavior. What is normal to us might not be normal to other cultures. Okay, similarly, what might be unfamiliar to us might be familiar to other cultures. So actually, there is no right nor wrong. Okay, when we talk about cross-cultural phenomenon. Now, let's look at why intercultural communication is important, especially in professional settings. First, intercultural communication helps to enhance collaboration. Okay, when people from different cultural backgrounds understand and respect each other's perspectives, they can work together more effectively towards shared goals. Second, it promotes cultural sensitivity. Now, what do we mean by cultural sensitivity? Okay, for example, professionals who are culturally aware, they are more likely to recognize and respect cultural differences. This reduces the chances of misunderstandings or conflict. Therefore, make sure that as a professional, before you enter an uncommon territory, do some research. Okay. The third importance will be global business competence. Okay. In today's globalized economy, many organizations operate internationally. Being able to communicate effectively with clients, partners, and colleagues from different cultures is a valuable personal skill. The fourth importance, inclusive work environments, okay, whereby every employee feel that they are respected, regardless of their cultural or maybe religious backgrounds. They feel that they are a value asset to the company, even though they are coming from different backgrounds. Another benefit is effective problem solving. Teams that include members from different cultural background, for example, okay, they often have diverse perspective and experiences. And when these perspectives are combined, teams can develop more creative and innovative solutions to complex problems. The next importance is building trust and relationship, okay, whereby having effective intercultural communication, it will strengthen, okay, your professional relationship. It will build, okay, a deep trust, okay, between you as well as your colleagues, okay, as well as between colleagues and clients. Last but not least, promoting cultural exchange. Okay, when you are coming from different backgrounds, it is an opportunity for you to learn from each other. Okay, learn from each other's background, therefore enriching your understanding of the diversity, okay, that you have in your team. Now let's focus specifically on cultural differences in the workplace. Different cultures may have different expectations regarding communication styles, leadership, teamwork, and decision making. For example, in some cultures, employees may feel comfortable expressing their opinions directly to their managers. But in other cultures, employees may prefer a more hierarchical structure where respect for authority is strongly emphasized. Now, these differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings if people are not aware of them. And that is why understanding cultural differences is important for maintaining effective professional relationships in international and multicultural workplace. Now let's look at a practical tool called an intercultural communication checklist. When we communicate with people from different cultural backgrounds, there are several things we should keep in mind. First, try to learn something about the culture, history, and lifestyle of the people you are interacting with. Even basic knowledge can help you avoid misunderstandings. Second, it is important to understand different communication styles. Some cultures they prefer very direct communication, while others may communicate more indirectly. Third, you should also learn about gender roles and social dynamics because in some cultures, the way people interact may depend on age, gender, or social status. Another important point is to be aware of your own cultural values and beliefs. Sometimes we assume that our way is the normal or correct way, but this may not always be true in another cultural context. Finally, try to recognize any cultural stereotypes that you may have. Now, stereotypes can affect how we perceive others and may lead to unfair judgments. Developing this awareness helps us become more flexible and respectful communicators. Even when we try our best, intercultural barriers can still happen. These barriers often occur because people have different expectations, communication styles, or interpretations of behavior. For example, what one culture considers polite might be interpreted differently in another culture. So, to overcome these barriers or these challenges, professionals need to practice active listening. This means paying attention not only to the words being spoken, also to tone, okay, the tone of voice, the body language, as well as the context of communication. Another important strategy is asking respectful questions when something is unclear. Okay, instead of making assumptions, it is better to politely clarify the thing. Okay? And most importantly, we should approach intercultural interaction with patience, openness, and curiosity. Now we will move on to another important topic, professional etiquette. Professional etiquette refers to the unwritten rules of behavior in the workplace. Now, these rules guide how we interact with colleagues, managers, and clients. Good professional etiquette helps create a comfortable and respectful working environment, which allows organizations to operate very smoothly. It also helps, professionals make a positive first impression. In many situations, the way you communicate and behave can influence how others perceive you or how others sees you, okay, as a professional. On the other hand, poor etiquette may lead to misunderstandings, damaged relationships, or even missed career opportunities. Professional etiquette applies to many workplace situations and not just verbal interactions. Okay, it can also apply to examples such as emails, phone conversations, meetings, and daily interaction with colleagues. One important aspect of professional etiquette is making a good first impression. When meeting someone for the first time, simple actions can have a strong impact. For example, you should stand up straight, maintain eye contact, and smile when greeting others. Now, these behaviors communicate confidence as well as respect. At the same time, professionals should avoid gossip in the workplace, okay? Because gossip can damage trust between colleagues and create a negative working environment. Instead, professionals should focus on maintaining respectful and constructive communication. Another important element of professional etiquette is understanding your work environment. Every organization has its own culture, expectation, and professional standards. For example, some workplace may have a very formal communication style, while others may be more relaxed and informal. So, as professionals, it is important to observe and understand what behaviors are considered appropriate or inappropriate in your organization. At the same time, you should aim to be personable but still remain professional. What do we mean by this? Okay, this means being friendly and approachable while maintaining respect and professionalism in your interactions. These are the key elements of professional cultural etiquette. Okay, one of them will be respecting other people's time. In the workplace, time is often limited, and many people have multiple responsibilities in a day. For these reasons, professionals should always try to be punctual for meetings, responding to messages in a timely manner, and manage their tasks efficiently. Okay, another important factor is dress code. Okay, different organization may have different expectation regarding, professional attire. So understanding and following the appropriate dress code shows that you respect the organization and the professional environment. Okay, when we talked about communication, we are referring to also, okay, how to properly engage in email and phone etiquette. How can you interact properly and professionally? Okay, which goes the same as online professionalism. How should you behave? How should you communicate? How should you interact? Okay, for example, in your social media sites, in your company social media sites. Disagreements are normal in any workplace, especially when people come from different cultural backgrounds and perspectives. However, the key is learning how to handle disagreements professionally. Okay, instead of reacting emotionally, professionals should focus on listening to different viewpoints and discussing ideas respectfully. It is also important to practice cross-cultural awareness and sensitivity, which I have already explained at the beginning of the slide. Right? This means recognizing, that people may express disagreement in different ways depending on their cultural background, and therefore you should be aware of this. Okay, because by maintaining respect and professionalism, disagreements can become productive discussion that can lead to better decisions. Before we end today's lesson, let's quickly summarize what we have learned. First, we discussed the importance of intercultural communication and how cultural differences influence communication in professional settings. And we also explored professional etiquette, which will help create respectful and effective workplace interactions. Therefore, as future professionals, okay, developing cultural awareness, communication skills, and professional behavior will help you succeed in diverse workplaces. Thank you very much for your attention, and I will see you in our next lesson. Bye.